Let's talk about the ending of Venom: The Last Dance and what it sets up with the post-credit scenes as well. So before we get into it, make sure you are following us on our Instagram. We will be putting a giveaway that's going to be starting today, and it's going to run all the way until October 31st, which is Halloween Day. And more on that on our YouTube channel tomorrow. But if you want to be the first to know about it, make sure you're following us on our Instagram, as you can see it up above, and we will be posting that giveaway tonight. So let's talk about Venom: The Last Dance, what it sets up, and does this even all matter anymore? Because as we know, Venom: The Last Dance is wrapping up the Venom story that started, of course, with Venom 2018. Now in this film, we saw that Eddie and we saw that Venom were pretty much on the run as they were being hunted by many different people here. Ultimately, in the end, we saw that the Codex was what Noel was looking for this whole time, which is the new big bad that is being set up for a potential, I don't even know. We'll get to that in a bit with the post-credit scenes. But by the end of the film, we saw that Venom just pretty much had to go and sacrifice themselves in order to save Eddie, and they did that. They went ahead and saved the world, saved Eddie by sacrificing themselves. Eddie went to go see the Statue of Liberty because that is what Venom wanted, and that's pretty much how we end things here. Now at the end of the film, we do get two post-credit scenes which sort of imply that there's more to the story actually. So in the first one, we see Noel, who had been this big villain they had set up, and the one that was after Venom and Eddie at the beginning of the film throughout, pretty much say that now that Venom is gone, the new King in Black is here. And so we see now that they are going to be a threat to, I don't know if it's the Venom universe, if it's the Sony universe, like is Morbius going to come in here or something and sort of be against Noel or with Noel, or Madam Web will be in here, or is this for Tom Holland's Spider-Man, who is still in the Sony universe apparently? Like, you know, everything's in the air right now with the Sony universe, and I think comic book movies for the most part have started to get into a weird thing where it's like, are we still doing shared universes or what's going on, right? But no, we do see Noel say that they are the King in Black and that they are awake now and that they will be now free from their eternal prison in which they were, which of course we know they wanted to get the Codex from Venom and Eddie in order to escape for some reason, right? So now that Noel is free and the King in Black, who of course is Noel, what is going to happen next? So of course this is implying that we could potentially see a cinematic universe of sorts play out with Noel being the next big bad. And of course Noel in the comics has had some encounters with Fantastic Four, X-Men, which we know are coming to the MCU, and Spider-Man, so on and so forth. But do we really see Andy Serkis playing Noel and being the next big bad? When would that happen, Ryan? Because we still have Doomsday and we still have Spider-Man 4. Could they potentially try to put in Noel somewhere in there? I don't know. This is just Sony to me sounding like they're just like, well, I don't know. We'll see what happens, right? And it's just an interesting dilemma that Sony always does this, right? They set up these huge things in their post-credit scene, never to be heard again. Remember when we saw that Morbius met with Toomes at the end of that post-credit scene, and then nothing ever happened? There was no mention or anything about the Vulture or anything like that ever being in a film with Morbius, or both of those being in a Spider-Man film. So we'll see what happens. But in the other one post-credit scene we did get, we were showcased that Venom may have indeed survived, because we saw that the bartender from the beginning of the film escaped the wreckage of Area 51, and then we also saw a cockroach going towards a broken vial. And this was the vial that we saw had a small specimen of Venom that General Strickland had put in there. Are we potentially seeing that Venom could be revived in some shape, way, or form and trying to reunite with Eddie later down the road? That's definitely the possibilities here, and that definitely could set up for a way to see Venom coming back and Noel having a big back and forth. Another possibility too that we are left with is Dr. Payne, who is played by Juno Temple, of course, has become Agony, it seems, with a new symbiote. So that could potentially lead into maybe seeing Agony take the reins of Venom, or both of them teaming up to take Noel out. You know, it's just a lot of things happen in Venom: The Last Dance, and it's big things implying for a larger future, foreseeable future. But I think Sony is waiting to see how much money are we making this weekend. Right now, this film is projected to be over $150 million at the box office opening weekend. So I think that if they're able to keep that momentum going leading into the end of its box office run, we could potentially see Sony saying like, you know what, Tom, let's do another one. let's bring in Tom now. I don't know. The implications are interesting here with what they want to do. They seem grand. I would be inclined to see a Noel movie in which we see him as a big bad. But do we really see Marvel teaming up with Sony to do a movie like this, right? Like where they include Tom Holland and maybe some other MCU characters. But it's still up in the air. It's an interesting dilemma Sony's gotten us into, and it's just very funny and entertaining to see how Sony's still trying to do their own thing, but not really, because they just let the thing go, right? Whenever they don't feel like it's gonna do anything. But let me know what you think. What do you think about Venom: The Last Stand, its ending and its post-credit scenes that seem to imply that they're trying to make this grand story, but we still don't know anything else about any of the other grand stories they've implied? Like, are we really gonna see Morbius? Are we really gonna see Madam Web? And are we really gonna see Tom Holland and Eddie team up to take on Noel? Like, I don't understand what is the whole thing that Sony has planned here, because Noel seems to be a villain that would be great for like the MCU to have, where we could potentially see like a world devastating effect happen because of Noel. But let me know what you think about Venom: The Last Stand. So Noel is basically like this eldritch type being, and he was pretty much a god of darkness. He is the creator of the symbiotes, and he is like trying to escape this like imprisonment he's in. And he has a lot to do with the Celestials as well, which is a very interesting thing considering the fact that the Celestials are going to be talked about again in Captain America: New World Order, which we'll talk about pretty soon. But I really am curious to see how they would want to use Noel, because I think Noel is such a great character to really try to bring into the MCU. But it's going to be interesting because it is a Sonyverse thing, and for the most part, besides Spider-Man, we really haven't seen Sony and the MCU sort of going hand in hand, which is working together on a film. But we'll see what it is. But yeah, pretty much that is what Noel is. It's like a god of darkness, and he is the creator of the symbiotes. So him saying he's coming means he's pretty much coming for revenge, and we don't know yet who imprisoned Noel in all of this or why exactly they're imprisoned. So I think it'll be interesting. And if we have the Fantastic Four coming in, they do have a thing with Galactus and the Silver Surfer and Noel and all of that, so it definitely ties really good with everything that's coming up from the MCU. But we just don't know how Sony and Marvel are handling all of these things right now besides Spider-Man. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. Like I said, it is a great film to see these two, especially that third act and how insane it is, and really setting up these very huge world building moments. But it doesn't seem that Sony even knows where they're going and just kind of winging it as they go. However, we'll see what the future holds for these. Let me know what you want to see from the Venom universe. Would you love to see Spider-Man go head to head with Eddie Brock at some point? Tom Hardy did mention that a couple of interviews ago that he would have loved to go hand to hand with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but the potential of that seems to be up in the air, and we don't even know what the MCU is doing anymore either. It seems that we are in this weird phase with comic book movies where I think comic movies have to sort of dial down the cinematic universe and just go back to standalone great stories. I think that's what would really make it and make some great films in the future. But we'll see what happens. Let me know what you think. Check out our video we did on the new Alien Romulus sequel that got announced. Make sure you follow us on our Instagrams for our giveaway announcement tonight. That's going to be running from today until Halloween Day when we announce a winner. And I'll see all of you next time. As always, stay safe, stay positive.